Now it's going to go in. Righto, here we are at the Springs, just starting with the warm-up on the test track that Lucas has just modified, dug out a bit. Rob and Zoe have driven their big girl up from Victoria. It's 4-inch lift on 35s and stock drivetrain.
One sec. You're alright, keep going. As you are. As you are. As you are. Keep moving slowly, slowly. Good. Keep going. Yeah, you're good, mate. Take a minute, take a minute, take a minute. Perfect.
Well played, Lucas. Well played. Mark's JK Jeep, the Hulk, is a bit of a weapon. It's on 37s, twin locked, and it runs Dana 60s and all synergy arms. It's quite the weapon. What are they, buddy? 37s or 35s on that? 35s. Oh, 37s, right? Looks tough, doesn't it? This test track's pretty basic, but if you've got a stock standard 4B and you want to get out a bit, it's a good little place just to come and have a play and get used to your car, because it will do a few wheel lifts and everything through here. Obviously, these two cars are reasonably standard. This one's live axle at the front, live axle at the back, independent front, and the 62 is independent front and rear. So you do get a bit of wheel lift, but even a standard car with standard driveline and any of your new cars with traction control will just walk through here. It's just a matter of whether you can handle the wheel lifts. But it's a good little place just to come and have a play and see what your car does. It's a little warm up for when you go play on some dumb stuff. And obviously it's pretty good to see a comparison between a Land Cruiser 200 and Y62 and a Jeep and then a GU, but remembering that the GU is big lift and all the good arms and all the good gear and live axle rear, front and rear, and the Jeep is on some pretty cool gear, so it's not really a good comparison, but it's just a bit of fun to watch the three. Very nice. While the 62 and the 200 are good all-round tourers, when it comes to really hardcore off-road, there's no comparison to live axle in my opinion. That works well, doesn't it? That looks good. Doing it easy. So this is a good little test track. Most parks have little test tracks or areas like this you can have a play in, and they're very good because if you're going to go somewhere like Cape York, you will come across washouts and whatever if you do the right tracks. A lot of them, Old Coach Road, all those tracks you'll have washouts on, and this gives you good practice at just following the ditch, keeping the centre of the car roughly over the bottom of the ditch, which means sometimes you'll have to put the front wide or whatever to get the back to line up across the ditch properly. If you don't line it up properly, sometimes the front will look okay and then the back will just drop in and next minute you'll be on your ass. So they're good little tracks to have a play on. Right, so this one's my Y62 Gloria, the Hippo. It's pretty standard. It's 2-inch lift, 35-inch tyres, and it has a standard drivetrain, so standard rear diff lock and traction control. The diff lock is in the rear, yeah. It has billet rear arms because I've bent a few rear arms, so I've got billet rear arms in it. They are a little bit weak in that area once you lift them, but I haven't broken too much in this car. It's actually, apart from the arms, it's actually quite good off-road, but they have their limitations. These things are good to a certain extent and way more comfortable than the GQ, but when it comes to real off-roading, the GQ twin locked is going to do it up any day. So this is Dene's Land Cruiser 200 series. It has a diff lock added in the back, and it still has the obviously the original crawl control. They call their version of their traction control. It's a crawl control. Same thing, a little bit of lift and 35. So he gives this thing a pretty hard time. He uses this a lot. And sometimes suffers the consequences, as you'll see later.
I'll see now. You wouldn't see much when you come over the top, would you?
So Lucas, the park owner, has just modified these tracks. He modifies them occasionally just to make them a little bit more tricky and a bit more of a challenge to them. But yeah, they're pretty safe, and especially if you've got someone spotting. If you haven't done much of this, you're probably better off having someone spotting just to make sure you're not going to do anything silly. But as I said, you should get on these tracks if you haven't done much off-road. These are the tracks to start on. So looking forward to this weekend. This is the first time I've really been off-road in the 62 with someone in a Land Cruiser 200 who actually has a go and uses it in this sort of off-road. So we've got a couple of days here in the park playing around. So a couple of 62s and this and Dene's 200. And we've got the Jeep, but the Jeep will do everything easy that we'll be doing. Although he's pretty keen to drive it home, I think, without breaking anything. So yeah. The Cruiser and the 62s have only got basic modifications, so should be a good comparison. Yeah, it's always easy when you're second, isn't it? It's good. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The tire's going to start coming up now. Keep going. Keep going. That's right. Perfect. Yeah, to me. Keep coming to me. All right. Perfect.
Righto, this is Lucas's GU ute. Lucas is the park owner at the Springs here. He obviously built the track and looks after all these tracks. He's done a real good job with the park, actually. It's a really good park now. This thing's on like, I think it's, we'll call it 4-inch lift. It's a legal superior lift. It's very, very capable car and flexes and just does everything really nicely. Not much around here would stop him, I don't think.